Hi and welcome along to the Invincible podcast with myself and Lee Judges and Julian in the building. Looking forward to the game at the weekend when we take on Leicester. And of course, I thought today as well, let's look back at the epic game last weekend against Manchester City and a nice little game during the week as well when we, put 5 past Bolton. Boring Arsenal. They've been calling us and hating on us and stuff like that. But how you two feeling, by the way? You good?
Yeah, all good. Looking forward to the weekend. I think it's been a very, very enjoyable week. Had a good week.
Enjoyed the week?
Yeah, it's been a bit of a blur for last 10 days. So many games. It's just game after game. And if we feel like that, then how must the players feel?
Well, 3 games.
Well, I'm talking from the Tottenham game. It just seems to be every few days we're playing big games of football.
Yeah, well, to be fair, that is the thing. And I think this is why we've done really, really well as a team, Arsenal, right? First 5 games of this season, unbeaten still. All right, 2 draws in it, but both games when we were down to 10 men. And when you think about the away games that we've had, we've got 3 of our most difficult away games gone and out of the way. Away to Manchester City, away to Aston Villa, away to Tottenham, and we've got 7 points out of those games. I mean, Mikel Arteta will be very pleased with that, especially the return from the away games. Got a game coming up at the weekend, which, Leicester, we have to win that game to keep things, rolling. And then we go to PSG. Well, no, PSG come to us next Tuesday. But first of all, let's touch on that game. Last weekend against Manchester City, we were all at the game. An epic game in the end. City in control at the start, went 1-0 up. Haaland getting his 100th goal. They seemed to be in control for about the first 15, 20 minutes of the game. Then Arsenal came into it. They got themselves together. Calafiori with an absolutely unbelievable goal. Then shortly after that, we go 2 up. And you could see City, their fans, everybody, they're visibly stunned. And Arsenal really, really on top, really in the ascendancy. If anything, I don't know how you guys felt. I was thinking we could get 3 here. You know what I mean? I was thinking very confident we're going to go on and win this game. But then the big incident involving, of course, Trossard, he kicks the ball away, he gets sent off for delaying the restart. We're down to 10 men for the whole of the second half. Hold on to literally the last kick of the game, and they get the equaliser through John Stones, and it ends up 2-2. But there's been a big fallout since the game. Number one, discussions around the second red card and did it ruin the game and should it have been a red card or was it inconsistent? And number 2, a lot of pundits and opposition fans, City fans, Spurs fans and all that talking about the style of play that Arsenal deployed within that second half in order to achieve the result that they got out of the game. Accusing Arsenal of being boring, accusing Arsenal of not coming out and attacking. That was Roy Keane saying that, why did we play like that? I mean, what have you guys made of all of this? I mean, a lot of hate been coming our way. I don't know about you guys. I love it.
Love it.
Absolutely love it. But what have you made of it?
I love it. Bring it on some more. Put some more custard and cream on it. You know what I mean? I love it. It's what it's about. When people turn around to you and say, like years ago, everybody used to go, oh, I don't quite like Man City, because they felt a little bit sorry for them because it was Man United, the same with Everton and things like that. Now, and there's been times with us, I sort of like Arsenal now. Why? Because we wasn't a threat. Now we're a threat. I love it when I listened to Paul Scholes the other day. What he said, I've not been impressed with Arsenal's start to the season. Well, I don't care if you've not been impressed with it. I've been impressed with it as a fan.
How can you not be impressed?
How can you not be impressed with it?
Those 3 away games.
3 away games. You've gone to Aston Villa, who, by the way, have won every game since, right? And I think they're 2nd or 3rd in the league. You've gone to Tottenham, your main rivals, and listen, the way Spurs fans bragging there. So we was never going to win there. We was lucky if we ever got a draw out of that. Every Spurs fan I know is saying 2-3-1, Solanke, couple of goals, bang, 1-0, see you later. And against Manchester City, and what people don't realise, Roy Keane and everybody like that, look at the first half. Forget about the second half. Look at the first half. They were fantastic in that first 20 minutes, Man City. Brilliant. Couldn't get out of our half. They was pressing us fantastically well. Me and Julian both turned around and said, well, we could get stuffed here, right? We weathered that storm, got into the game, should have had another couple of goals. I've looked at that Gabriel could have, probably his first chance was easier than his second.
Better than the second, yeah.
And also Trossard had a very, very good chance as well. What did Raya have to do before? What was other magnificent saves did he have to make in that first? We was by far the better team in the first half.
Yeah,
by
we were
far.
on top.
Top. So when you look at it from that point of view, I look at it and no one wants to talk about that. Then we get the sending off, which you can argue is or it isn't. It's a sending off, whatever. The second half, what are you going to do? Come out and play and go against toe-to-toe with them? Why? We're 2-1 up.
Teams have done that before against Manchester City.
We've done.
When they're down to 10 men, including us.
Yeah.
When we went down to 10 men with
Granit
Granit Xhaka, we lost 5 goals past
Gallant
us.
effort, though, wasn't it? Yeah. We lost 5-0. Gallant effort.
But it was a good effort for the first 7 minutes because we went toe-to-toe with them.
Yeah, so
we were quite good for the first 7 minutes in that game.
The best thing that I think, I've got, by the way, I don't know if you guys agree, but I've loved Mikel's press conferences so far.
I've loved them.
Absolutely brilliant. But the one that I loved was when he turned around and said, well, we went to Man City, we got with 10 men, lost 5-0. Do you think I'm thick? Am I going to do that again? I just love that. It was just right. And it was the perfect tactic to do. We didn't need to do no more, Rob. We was winning. If we was drawing or losing, maybe a different thing. But we wasn't. We was winning. We hung on to the last second, and it was just I don't
get the Roy Keane hate, right? Well, I do get the Roy Keane hate, but right, I saw Manchester United last season when they played Liverpool, right? Remember that game when they played Liverpool in the league, where they just literally defended the whole game for a 0-0, right? I didn't see him coming out and moaning and complaining after that one, right? When they got that point against Liverpool that time, you know what I mean? We're down at 10 men. What do you expect Arsenal to do? As a matter of fact,
what do you
even
expect?
when certain stats are being quoted, and I don't know if you've got the stats, but like I remember the other day I was on DR Sports.
Talk about the possession stats.
Abby's coming at me and saying, if you look at the standings so far in the league, you've got the lowest stats in this and the lowest stats in that. And I'm like, well, hold on a minute. We've played 2 games with 10 men against, and the teams that we're playing against 10 men is not.
Brighton was second when we played them.
Yeah, it's not Tesco carrier bags like what Tottenham had to play last night, who missed about 3 sitters and missed a penalty, right? We're talking about teams like Brighton. We know Brighton, even with 11 men, are excellent in possession. A great passing team and a good side as well, right? And of course, Manchester City, even with 11 men, you know that they're going to have more possession than you, right? Those are the 2 teams so to try and compare stats when you're coming up against those 2 teams with 10 men is ridiculous. The tactics in both games were correct. The game against Brighton, we should really have won. We had the chances to win it. Remember with Havertz and that when he was through and that. So I don't get it.
But if you go back to something you said at the beginning, you introduced the game as an epic game. So I came away from that game thinking I saw an epic half of football. I didn't see an epic game because the second half, and I can understand a little bit what Roy Keane was saying, is that from a neutral's perspective, it was ruined. From an Arsenal perspective, that we didn't really enjoy that second half.
No.
At half time, we were almost resigned to the fact we're probably going to lose. We knew full well that Arsenal weren't going to attack. And from a fan's point of view, what you enjoy, yes, you enjoy the defending, but what's the glory part of football, the ecstatic part of football, is seeing your team score. And we felt that we're probably not going to get that opportunity to witness in the second.
There's a reason why.
In the second, exactly. But then I was at a conference this week, and I had half an hour meetings.
Is that the high-level executive conference that you kept telling everybody about the other day at football?
Yeah, I mean, I had plenty of high-level executive meetings, and each one is 30 minutes, and I was there talking about trademark enforcement. But pretty much everyone I met wanted to talk about the Man City-Arsenal game for at least 10, 15 minutes of that. And most of them were neutrals. They weren't Arsenal fans, they weren't City fans. And what I found quite surprising was that pretty much all of them really enjoyed that second half, that they thought it was really kind of tactically interesting how Arsenal played differently, and that the whole game, it was almost something for everyone in that game.
Yeah, no, he's that's why I say epic, because plus as well the way it ended up with them scoring like a last gasp equaliser. That kind of, you know what I mean, it does make the game, you know, I mean, we're still talking about it, and it's not just us. Like you said, it's everybody at your conference, it's everybody around the world. We're talking about that game all week.
Yeah, but if you talk about the hate, I don't really care what Roy Keane says. He's paid to have an opinion. He has to go one way or the other. What I found most satisfying was Haaland's hate that he showed, his reaction at the end of the game.
Rattled.
Totally rattled. I mean, the guy, I mean, to me, I don't know him, I've never met him, but he seemed like an absolutely despicable human being, the way that he behaved and, what he was saying to Skelly. You know, who are you? You know, you don't behave like that to anyone. Who are you?
Who the fuck are you?
Yeah. Who the fuck are you? You don't say that to anyone, and you definitely don't say that to basically one of your colleagues.
Call Jesus a clown.
Yeah, it's called Jesus a clown. He's in Arteta's face. That was hate. That was real hate. He's not paid to behave like that. He's actually supposed to be an ambassador for Manchester City. He's supposed to be the face of Manchester City, and he behaves like that, and that was disgraceful.
Well, you're right, Julian. Right, what it is with Erling Haaland, the reason why he behaved like that, he was completely rattled. Remember, the guy should be kind of not celebrating, I guess, because he's ended up 2-2. But he scored 100 goals, which is an unbelievable achievement. His 100th goal in that game. But yet still, he lost his head. He wasn't even thinking about any of those things, right? I guess, a couple of hours after the game, he's probably thinking, and people are coming up to him and say, yeah, well done, Erling, man. You realise 100th goal? Oh, yeah. But his head had gone. First of all, right, like you said, what he said to Lewis Skelly. You know what I mean? A young player making his way, you know what I mean? He's telling the guy, who the fuck are you?
You don't say that to anyone.
Right? Then now, right, when the goal's scored, he takes the ball and launches it into the back of Gabriel's head.
And why isn't that sending off?
Exactly, and that's a cowardly move, just like what Ian Wright said. I said it at the time after the game when I was doing my interview. I said, to me, that was a cowardly move, right? Then after the game now, he's going up to Mikel Arteta, tapping him, pushing him. Be humble. You're not being humble. You're not being, gracious. You're being, what are you doing? Yeah. And then when Jesus, as I said, comes up to him and says to him, what are you doing, man? Calm down. Right? Jesus never said nothing bad to him, He's just sort of saying, what are you doing? That's our manager. Calm down. Get your hands off him kind of thing. He's calling him a clown. He used to play for City. He's won leagues with City before you were even there, Haaland, right? Just set the foundations for players like you to come there. So I just thought that was really disrespectful for him. He made himself look like a child. And Julian, you're right. He should have been sent off. This is the other thing that really gripes me about football, right? And about these referees, right? And I don't even want to go on too much about the whole Trossard, delaying the restart and the inconsistencies and stuff like that, because I think we've covered it all week on shows, right? But what I would like to find out from the PGMOL, please can they explain to me how Erling Haaland was not sent off for throwing the ball in the back of the head, right? Remember that, you can't even see that coming.
That's violent conduct.
He didn't lob it like that. He flung the ball like that into the back of his head, right? That's violent conduct. We'll see in a game, 2 players come up. We saw it the other day, I think it was earlier on in the season. I think it was it Southampton that was playing? Yeah, 2 players come. They just literally put their head like that together. They didn't headbutt each other. They just went like that.
Yeah.
One of them fell over, right, tried to milk it. I think it was
Newcastle, and Shah got sent off.
Yeah, and Shah, 3-game ban, sent off. And all they did really, come on, let's be real. We know you're not allowed to do it, but they just went like this. They didn't headbutt each other. They just went like that, right? It got sent off. Why, as Erling Haaland, when the PGMOL said VAR looked at it and saw nothing wrong, are they having a laugh?
Well,
this is what gets me. Yeah. This is what gets me mad. Is that you'll be focused upon Declan Rice. Oh yeah, he gently kicked the ball away. So yeah, that was delaying a restart. But when somebody with the force of what Erling Haaland did throws the ball into the back of Gabriel's head, when he's got his shirt over his head, he can't see it coming, with the big force that it rebounds back off of his head the other way, right? There's nothing wrong with that. We've looked at that, that's fine.
Well, basically, they've said now you can throw the ball at someone.
I'd love to see
So,
someone
like,
do
you
it.
can-
I'd love to see someone do that this week.
They've said to you, so in the game now, if I'm having a scuffle with Julian, right, I ain't going to headbutt him.
No, you're
I'm not
chuck
going to
the ball in
punch
my
him.
face.
I'm just going to throw the ball in his face because that is laughable. It's funny. That's what they said on the pundit said. It's funny. We're all laughing at it like. So when any professional, if you're any footballer now, you're having a little scuffle.
Broken his nose.
You're having a little scuffle and all that. Like, just pick the ball up and throw it at someone.
With force,
not-
remember, we're not talking.
It's not.
He threw it
okay.
with two hands as well. He didn't just like go like that. It weren't a lob. He went.
Yeah.
Right
Listen,
into
it's heat of the battle. I don't, it's one of those things. He's been wound up from the game and everything.
But he was completely rattled, and the whole of their team. So, sorry, Bernardo Silva was rattled. They're all rattled.
That's what
Pep
happens,
was
Robbie.
kicking
Like,
the chair.
why do you think people like? There's an incident with the Preston player. He's bit somebody this week. Like, why are they doing that? They're not. It's not. It's because they're rattled. Something's happened in the game. They're frustrated. That's what happens. It's your frustration comes out. If Julian's getting the better of me, what do I do? You kick him. Why do I kick him? Because it's frustration. So what he done that day was frustration. Roy Keane, by the way, thinks it's funny in that. He got sent off for it at Newcastle. Do you remember when he threw the ball?
Yeah.
Got sent off of it. I didn't see Roy Keane laughing and thinking it was very funny then as he was walking down the tunnel, So at the end of it, what they've done now is set a precedent out that you can throw the ball at somebody. Now I don't know if he should have been sent off for it. He should have definitely been booked for it. But then 10 seconds later, the game kicks off again. He goes running through party, that's all right.
Could have got booked for that one
He
as
could have
well.
got booked for that. That's all right. But you have all the Man City players going, what about the one with Havertz and Rodri at the beginning? But it's all right for your man Haaland to do it. So at the end of the day, and what really bugs me is about the sending off with Trossard is when people come along with you and say it's the letter of the law. It has to go. It's the letter of the law. Well, I've never known that if you, all the times that I've been playing football, that you could. I've always thought if you threw the ball at somebody, it was a sending off. So the letter of the law is violent conduct, as I think you just said a little while ago, Jude. So for me, they set a precedent we'll let that go.
Yeah, and it could have been retrospective, but if they're not going to take action, PGML, then if City had any class, not just because of what happened, but because of the behaviour, I'm not expecting them to suspend him for a game because that's going to be detrimental to their title hopes. But they should at least come out, make him apologise for what he said and the behaviour that he had, and fine him a week's wages. That would be, that would conclude it.
Do you remember? I'll tell you something. Now,
he's got a lot.
Really
he's on a lot of
me.
wages for the.
What really bugs me about all this, right? You go back to the Man United Arsenal game, 2003-2004, when Van Nistelrooy misses that penalty. Roy Keane got banned. Not Roy Keane. Martin Keown got banned for 2 games for jumping in his face. Do you remember? Just jumping in his face. 2-game ban.
He sort of hit him in the back of the head with his arm.
And I did push him after.
But you're right. You're right.
But was that any?
And
why was no one laughing at it? It was funny.
True.
Why ain't no one going, oh, come on, it was funny? Why aren't they turning around and saying, oh, come on, it was a laugh? No. 2-game bans, 1-game bans, massive fines. Why? Want to know why that is acceptable and that is not?
Let me just give you also a parallel, right? Is that, and this is why I'm loving this at the moment, is that when we used to go to battle with Manchester United, this is reminiscent of what I saw the other day, is that there would always be big fallouts after the game. There'd always be lots of hate towards Arsenal, sometimes hate towards Man United, right? There'd always be that it's always a very, very edgy occasion when the two teams, when Arsenal and Man United used to buck up. I'm seeing that now when we're playing City. A couple of seasons ago, they were patting us on the head after the game. It was all friendly, lovely, because they were miles ahead of us.
And
right?
that's exactly what people
But
said
over the last,
that it reminded them of the Man United, Arsenal ones, and what they enjoyed about it was the spikiness of it.
Yeah.
As a neutral, it kind of enhanced it. I know we're not supposed to kind of get enthused by violent conduct or people putting their leaving a leg in, that kind of thing, but that's kind of what the public want. The neutral want a bit of spikiness.
Well, that's what I'm saying, Julian, right? This is what this is reminding me now, right? Because over the past couple of seasons, right, Arsenal have emerged as title contenders. They had that season when, we kind of fell away towards the end of the season, and then, City took it. We had last season, it went to the wire, 2 points in it. Now, you look at the last sort of 4 occasions in which we've played Man City, we haven't lost. We've won. They haven't beaten us. All of a sudden, Arsenal have become a major, major threat to Manchester City, and that is why we're seeing all this spikiness and hate. Yeah, I mean, Haaland never used to get like that before, but now he knows that when he plays Arsenal, he's under pressure. He knows that, he would have been well aware last year that there were a lot of people sort of saying, well, you came up against Gabriel and Saliba, you did nothing, right? Listen, he scored a goal in the game last week, so it was a great goal, great finish by him. So he will know that. They'll know that. They're rattled. And that is why at the end of that game, they're thinking to themselves, when Arsenal went down to 10 men, they're thinking, yeah.
Well, even their fans, right? They thought they won.
Yeah, right.
They thought that they was going to win 3-4-2, 5-2.
We got a whole half, right, to put we put these lot to the sword and put them back in their box.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen. As a matter of fact, they were seconds away from quite an embarrassing loss, because they'd be like, you know what? The team that you going head-to-head for the title have come to your patch with 10 men for a whole half and literally 8 minutes added on and have beaten you. It would have been an embarrassing loss for them, right? Hence why they were celebrating so wildly when they got that goal back. So all of a sudden, and this is why I'm loving it. I'm loving it because I don't want to be City's friends, right? And I'm not saying it. I don't want it to be in a bad way. Listen, all of these things have got, as Ty would always say, in a football context, right? Right? I don't want to be their friends. I want to be enemies of Manchester City, because if we are, right, and they're the benchmark, if we are and they don't like us, that means we're challenging them, right? And I feel that at the moment they are rattled. They are looking at Arsenal and they're thinking, hey, if we don't, these are going to put the pressure on us all season. We can see it now. Look at their start of the season that they've had to weather, the away games they've had to go to, and look how they've come out of it. These are serious. So hence why they're trying to give it the boring thing. Hence why, why didn't you attack? Well, we're not idiots. It's not the Arsenal of 4 or 5 seasons ago that would have attacked when we lost Xhaka in that game, went down to 10 men and you pumped us by about 5 goals. Those days are over. There's a new Arsenal, and this Arsenal don't die. You can't bully them. You can't bully Arsenal either. You know what I mean? You've got Gabriel, Saliba, Calafiori, Partey, Rice. Who are you going to bully out of that team?
That's
you can't even bully players like Saka. He may be short, but he's one of the strongest guys on the pitch. You can't bully Sterling. You can't bully Jesus. All of these guys are up for the fight. You can't bully Ben White. No chance. Yeah, I mean, you got Raya in goal. He's solid, right? So all of the bullying thing where they used to, we used to play games, get bullied off the ball. Can't bully them. Very hard to beat. Great defence. Very dangerous from set pieces. So what are you going to do? You're going to try and pick little things to try and have a go at us.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that. Long may it continue.
That's the major thing now with Arsenal, which is different. Like, you look back years ago, Arsene Wenger's reign, not having a go at the fullbacks, that they were small. But you have a look at every player now in the back 4, 6 foot. Like, midfield 2 now are 6 foot. It's going back to the old days of the
Havertz, I forgot him. That's another big aggressive player.
There's no real. You're going to have your little smaller players because you need that, like,
a bit of speed,
bit of speed and whatever. But the basics of the team now is back to how it was back in the 98 season, 2002. So we've got that stature back again. And listen, we used to go to places when fun enough, we played Bolton, Stoke. You know that you was going to go to Bolton, Stoke, and probably not win those games because you got bullied.
The long throws.
We play all this great football, right, and get done 2-1 and all that. And do you know what? The pundits used to come out and give us stick for it. Now they're giving us stick the other way round. So I look at it and go, do you know what? Bring it all on. At the end of it, I go to games now knowing that we're not going to get bullied. Not going to get intimidated. I never thought we was going to. We all said it. None of us thought we was going to lose at Man City this weekend. We didn't say we was going to win, but we knew we weren't going to lose. And the fact of the matter is, because we know that we can believe in this team, whatever. Yes, they might have a bad day here or there, like they did at Fulham and whatever. But at the end of it, they are not going to be intimidated and bullied. And as much as I loved all that ticky-tack football, it was fantastic to watch. You knew at certain games you was going to get done.
Yeah.
This time around, it's not like that. I love it. You know, Calafiori coming in 6 foot, Kivior 6 foot. All of our defenders are big, strong lads.
And it's not just that they're big, strong. They're very aggressive players as well. That's the way in which Mikel Arteta wants them to play.
Within the rules?
Yeah,
within the rules.
Within the rules.
Aggressive football. Calafiori, you can see, is an aggressive footballer. You saw that the other night, even in that Carabao Cup game. He's aggressive, typical sort of Italian defender, really.
Yeah.
Right? So, I'm loving it.
Yeah.
And we're playing great football. This thing we're getting labelled with, like, boring. We ain't boring. We scored 5 goals during the week. We scored goals in every game we played so far.
I think we need to do it against Leicester.
This is the thing. I don't think we can really go on too much about Bolton because of their position in the league. They weren't a great team that came here. What we've proved, exactly as you've said, we're a hard team, we're a very well organised team. We've almost perfected the George Graham style, but we've also got that attacking flair. But in the last few games, taking out the Bolton result, I think that we haven't been able to show our attacking side as much. And now we've got an easier run of games. This is where we need to be able to show we're not just a hard, well organised team, that we've also got that attacking flair still. And we've got to do it without Odegaard.
I would say, exactly, that's one great point. Also, though, right, we've gone away to Man City, we scored 2 goals. Well, boring, right? Dead football. It's 2 goals we scored there. It weren't 1, right? Second half, we didn't score enough. Yeah, we're out of 10 men. But before, like Lee pointed out earlier on, we scored 2 goals. Went away to Villa, scored 2 goals. That suggests to me that's a dead, boring team with no attacking football. You go away to these grounds and score twice.
We went to Tottenham without our midfield as well. Don't forget that. Like Marino wasn't playing, like Rice wasn't there, and Odegaard. You know what I mean? So you've got to change. You know, it's horses for good. You've got to change it up a little bit, like, you know. And I resent also when people turn around about the George Graham era. Like, we was very, very good defensively. Yeah, we were. We weren't boring. We won the league in '89 with the most goals scored. So you can't be boring doing that. '91, we was a fantastic team to watch.
Scored the second most goals last season.
So, you know, we got a little bit boring in the '93-4 season when we was a little bit more of a cup side. But you know, it's a myth about this. You know, great. When Chelsea had this great defence, no one was turning around and saying that they're boring. It was lauded. But what Arsenal do it, and it's like, oh no, we're boring. Why is that like? You know what I mean? Because we're Arsenal, we're a little bit bigger than Chelsea, and you know what you expect from it. But it's a myth. It's a myth. You don't win leagues being boring because you've got to score goals.
Yeah, but you have to have both.
Yeah, exactly. You have to have both sides of it.
The kind of goals we've scored. If we look back at those 3 most difficult away games, I mean, at Spurs, it was. I mean, actually, 2 of our 3 goals were scored from corners, weren't they?
Yeah. Set pieces.
By Gabriel. And then the 3rd goal by Calafiori was a worldie. So we didn't have the same free-flowing football as we've had in other games, but you can't do that against those teams.
But then you got to look at this, right? Is that what we're doing away from home is almost the perfect away performances, and the stats back it up, because what is it, 11 games, or is it 12 now? 12 games, 2 draws in that, 10 wins. So that style that they're deploying away from home is the perfect away style.
I think the only one that you can have some slight criticism of was the Atalanta game. I don't think we were okay defensively, but
we didn't offer much.
We didn't offer much, and I don't think you can say that. I mean, Atalanta looked okay, but you can't say it was the same as on the same level as going away to Spurs or Man City. So I thought we let ourselves down slightly on that one, but it's understandable that because of the levels of games that you had 3 big away games in a week.
I think you had to think about that, didn't you? Like, you know, if you was to win or get results in 2 games, you would have took the Tottenham game, the Man City game. You know, and I think that there was a little bit one.
Yeah,
they had one eye.
Yeah,
and that's what amazes me. A lot of people have wanted to criticise the performance at Atlanta. Take it in perspective of what it was. It was in between 2 big games. a point wasn't the end of the world for us.
Good.
Yeah, I think a point was good for us. So.
It was okay. But then you look at Atalanta, they're mid-table at the moment. I think they lost at home on the weekend 3-2 to Como.
Yeah, but they did win the Europa League, thrashing by Leverkusen, and came into that unbeaten for the whole season. So, you know what I mean? They have got very, very good players, like Lookman, who's been on form this season as well. So that was a decent point.
It was,
you know what I mean?
It was
a decent point.
But
it wasn't a great performance.
If you could criticise any of those 3 games, it would have been that way.
Yeah. And listen, no one's going to be perfect. Let's not forget, Man City drew 0-0 in the same week, right, at home, to get against Inter Milan. There's people forgetting that. Well, was that boring? Or what happened there? You know what I mean?
Well, they couldn't break them down, could they?
Right.
Sometimes teams like City, and I think they're very clever at doing that, have like jumped on the bandwagon of Arsenal and whatever, and it's hiding away from their indeficiencies themselves. Like, i.e., they couldn't break down Inter Milan. They struggled against Brentford, and obviously struggled against us from that point of view. I have one Man City fan. He said, "Oh, like Brentford, so much better than you. They come there and they attacked us and deserve to win. Like, deserve to get something out of it." And my next question was to him, "How did you get on?" "Oh, we beat them 2-1. Yeah, of course you did. Yeah. So you're happy, aren't you?"
Yeah, and they weren't down to 10 men.
Yeah, so you're happy. You want teams to come and open up to you, make it easy for you, do you? You know what I mean? Like, have a bit of perspective here. Do you think Leicester are going to come on Saturday and open up to us and go toe to toe with us?
No,
of course they're not.
Of course they're not.
Exactly right. You don't expect them to.
If they come and they do that, right, and they get beat 5-0, everyone's going to criticise.
Well, the manager gets sacked.
Say to the manager, what are you doing? You know what I mean? You're going to the Emirates, you try to go toe to toe. You're dumb. So on that, I've got a question for both of you. Following the game midweek, the 5-1 against Bolton, let me go with Julian. Do you start Ethan Nwaneri against Leicester?
The answer for me is yes, and there's a few reasons for that. Number one, his performance that we saw on Wednesday night. I thought he was the standout player, but also, you can criticise that by not criticise him, but say, well, it wasn't that great a level of opposition. But in the other games we've seen him play against Tottenham, it might have only been about 10 minutes. He looked the part there. He also looked the part in pre-season. So he looks like his performances now, everything that's been thrown at him, he's handled. So the other side of it is that he's not being thrown into a midfield inexperienced. He'll probably be, if he gets played, he'll have Rice and Partey next to him, so he can slot in. So I think absolutely.
All right, Lee?
Yeah, I agree with Julian. I think he should play in this one.
Drop Trossard.
Well, I don't know about drop Trossard. He can play in different positions, but what I think we've set up to be a bit more defensive in the last couple of games because we've been away from home. But this one we've got to set up more attacking, and I think that because of that, I think that he deserves that chance. He is Odegaard's backup. You know what I mean? Odegaard's not playing, so look to play him in that game there. Trossard would be a little bit harsh on him, but it's not really Trossard's position.
It's not, but he's actually done all right.
He's done all right in there, but in more of a containing role, like where I think that what I see of Nwaneri is that he's a player that can open things up by going past people, and I think maybe we need that in these sort of home games. And I think it's a different setup now where we'll be looking to attack more, and I think that you need more attacking options on there. Do I think personally he'll do it? No, I think he'll probably go with Trossard, but then
isn't he going to be thinking also about we're playing Tuesday night?
Well, that was going to be my next question. Would you rotate anything?
Yes. Yeah, mate.
When you consider we have that game against PSG, what are you saying?
Yeah, so that's exactly another reason why I'd play Ethan on Saturday
and then leave him out on Tuesday.
Yeah,
are you leaving out Saka? I mean, I know the two of you have got this big campaign.
It's not a campaign
you've had going on for quite a while to rest Saka. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
I heard you even bought him a bed. You know what I mean? Right? Or you bought him a quilt or something. Yeah. And by the way, remember last week when I said, was it last week? Or was it the week before? I can't remember. So much.
It was,
like you
it
said,
was, it was Monday, I think.
like you said,
because we
so much has happened.
Atlanta, who said like playing.
Yeah.
I said to you that all of those big clubs will play their best player. Said Mbappe would play. He played.
He's injured now, by the way.
I said Haaland would play. He played. I named out a load of players, big players for the team. They all played.
Listen, it's a league game on Saturday. Saka plays. Saka plays.
And you don't want to rest him. There's
No,
a big
what?
game against PSG. That's a big game.
It's a big game, but like so,
What's the bigger of the two games?
Leicester.
Bigger than PSG in the Champions League.
100%. Two reasons. The league's over 38 games. You've got to win it, and it's the next game. But for me, like the league's so much more important this month. You can't afford to drop points. You can afford to drop points. You can afford to drop points in
We
the
dropped
Europa
points
League.
already.
it depends.
The Champions League.
We already dropped points, yeah?
Yeah, but you can afford to drop them. Not so much at home, but you can afford to drop a point here and there and still qualify.
But it depends if you want to get in that top 8. I think
Yeah.
if we want to get in that top 8,
Need to win that game.
Then you really need to start winning the games. But if you're content with just getting another game going into sort of the preliminary round of 16 ties, where the playoff games, then yes, you could lose. It's only 8 teams that
Yeah,
are
but you don't
going
want to
out.
end up in that because you can end up
Yeah, but
playing
you can.
the real top side.
But at the end of the day, you know, I want to win the Premier League.
Yeah,
that's
I do as well.
That's what I want to win. The Premier League, you know, I get all the glamour that goes around the Champions League, and don't get me wrong, I'd love to win it. But ultimately, you can not be the best team that wins that. You need a lot of luck and all that. The best team wins the league, and we haven't won the league. So I'd rather, if you want, I want to win the league this season, and then perhaps the Champions League the next time. I'm not being greedy, but there you go. That's what I want to do. For me, Champions League is fantastic and all that, but for me, Saturday is a must win for us.
Can I have you? So I'm going to both of you.
So you'd actually play Saka.
Listen,
Yeah.
hold on.
Yeah.
Let's get both teams. Give me your 11 in goal.
Well,
If fit Raya.
Yeah, if fit Raya, I would have.
If not fit,
No.
Well, it has to be Neto, doesn't it?
you would play the 16-year-old.
Did you see, by the way, I've got to
No.
say, did you see him get that standing ovation as he walked into school the next day? Did you see that?
I didn't see that.
Well,
Have
he's
you not
still at
seen
school.
Yeah, he went into
he's
school, didn't
16.
he? He went to school the next day, and the whole school was there to
He
give him
he turned 16 in July.
He was 16 and 72 days when he made that.
It's incredible.
That debut.
Yeah.
Incredible. He had to go to
It
school
was
the next day.
incredible, which is why none of us wanted to criticise him, whatever he'd done. But you know, he did look like he didn't look 16, but he didn't look like he would really. You know, you wouldn't want to have to play him again in that position in the first team at the moment.
Horrible, ain't you?
But you
Horrible
wouldn't. He
little
didn't.
man.
He's.
Ah, look at that.
But I'm not
I wouldn't
criticising
even
him.
say that.
It sounds
Yeah.
like it.
Give him the dues that he deserves.
It's amazing to be able to play for Arsenal at any age.
But you never want to see him again.
No, I don't want to see him. In a few years' time, he'd probably develop into a really good goalkeeper. At the moment, he's a brilliant prospect, but
Okay.
he's not ready for the first team. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, yeah,
and
cool.
for me, having played the position, I kind
He's
of,
an expert.
Yeah.
How many positions did you play?
He played a sub a lot.
No, I played.
Goalkeeper,
I played in
defender,
goal.
striker, manager,
Manager,
and
yes.
assistant manager.
No.
There's a theme here that he's manager, so he picks himself wherever he can. Like, you know what I
I
mean?
played in central midfield most of the time, and when I was slightly injured, I'd play in goal. And then if I was tired, I'd play more defensively.
Right, give me your 11 for Saturday.
So it'd be Raya. I'd actually have Timber at right back if Ben White's still got a little bit of a knock. Calafiori at left back. Your normal two in the centre. I'd have.
What if Ben White's fit? Let's assume that Ben White, because he did come on in that game on Sunday, played a whole half, looked fine. So let's assume he's fit. Give us your back four with everyone fit.
Yeah, you just got a little bit of an easy get out there.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, I'd still have Timber there with a view that I'd rotate it. I'd definitely have Ben White coming in for the PSG game on Tuesday.
Right, so Timber, Gabriel Saliba,
Yeah, and then in the midfield, I've already
and who's left back?
left back. I'd have Calafiori,
Right,
and
midfield,
and then I'd have the ones that I mentioned. I'd have Rice, Partey, and Ethan Nwaneri,
and up front.
and then I'd have Martinelli on the left.
Yep.
I'd have Havertz in the middle, and
Trossard. Go on, say it.
Allah.
Go on.
No, No,
Dropping Saka, come on.
No, I wouldn't. No, it's not dropping. You're
Well,
resting.
you're resting.
Yeah,
aren't you?
I'd rest Saka and I'd give Sterling a go. I'd give Sterling a start.
Okay. Lee?
If fit, Ben White. It's a difficult one.
So Raya in goal, Ben White.
Yeah. Two normal central defenders. I'm going to go Calafiori on the left because it just gives us that bit more balance. And so it's a bit harsh on Timber, but I would do the roles reversed. Timber comes in on
Midfield?
Tuesday. Midfield, same three.
And up front?
Martinelli, Havertz, Saka.
Oh, so you didn't say it either, did you?
No,
you just
because
wanted to get me to say it.
No, I want Saka playing. I want my front.
Yeah.
And then if we're 2-3-0 up, first substitution, Saka.
I was going to go with Trossard in the midfield instead of Nwaneri, but thinking about it, I think I'd rather than maybe Trossard playing the midfield against PSG. So I'd rotate. I think I keep Nwaneri in. He's just scored 2 goals, looked really good. Yeah, so I'll go with your midfield. I'll go with your backline. I'd have Ben White back in there. I'll probably have Timber
At left back.
at left back for this game. So I'd leave out Calafiori from the start, and then up front. That's the interesting one. I think Martinelli gets a start. Played really well last week against City. Saka has to start for me. You know what I mean? He's the main man. And Havertz, yeah. So yeah.
I think it's.
I mean, you could
important that
argue
Havertz gets
Sterling
a go.
because he know what I mean, he looked very lively in that second half.
He looked very sharp.
You know what I mean?
Very sharp.
But you could argue for that. I see where Julian's coming from because you could argue. I don't know if I put him in for Saka, but you could argue
Well, who'd
maybe
you put him in for?
he come in maybe for a Martinelli and then you play Martinelli against PSG. You know what I mean? You could do it that way because
you've played Saka. Saka started, didn't he, on Wednesday?
Yeah,
He started on
And then he
Wednesday,
came off.
and then he came off. I'd placed him in that position because he's come as an understudy to Saka. So that would be.
well, you can sort of
that'd be your-
understudy for both sides.
Listen, if Saka's rested for so we.
I don't want to
come
see
in and
Saka
he's-
rested. He's
But
too-
if he is,
he's too
I wouldn't
important.
be too
No,
disappointed.
I would. To me, he's our best player.
I think,
he plays.
yeah, I think you've got to play him too.
But then you look at the two teams, Leicester and PSG. You've got to say that PSG are going to be a better team. They are
going to be a
Leicester.
better
And you're
side.
playing. It's still a quick turnaround. It's Tuesday night, isn't it?
But to me, I keep going back to it as well. It's early in the season. So these guys, they shouldn't be fatigued up if they then have a game on a Tuesday. If anything, and as I said, your best players want to play every game. I'll play Saka. The only one I'm thinking, Martinelli or do you play,
Trossard.
Sterling?
Or Trossard.
Yeah, or Trossard, yeah, and then rest up Martinelli so he's fresh to go out, run out that PSG backline on the Tuesday. It's going to be intriguing. That starting 11 is going to be intriguing, and
Julian makes a point though with Saka because when is he going to get a rest? Because like you got this game, then you got PSG, you got Southampton, then you got the England internationals. You ain't going to get a rest for England. They're playing in both games, like they did last time. So, I don't think it's like when people turn around and say, they're all fit and all that. It's not so much now. It's for the course of the season when, just to try and keep them nice and fresh.
Prevention's better than cure. Just if you don't, of course he's important. He is better than Sterling. But against Leicester, if you've got 2 games in a week within a few days of each other, then just... You're not dropping him because he's on the bench.
Haaland plays every game. They're not going to...
Because they don't have the same alternatives. Who are they going to play? If Haaland doesn't
Look how many
play...
players, up front players they got.
So who are they going to play instead of Haaland?
Huh?
Who are they going to play that's at that level?
They'll find someone to play. If
who?
Haaland's
Who?
out, listen,
Who?
that's one of the things where I was
who
arguing
then?
this with an Arsenal fan the other day when he was saying, he goes, I still don't think our squad is that all that. And I was going, we got a very good squad.
Yeah.
And I said, look at City. Rodri's out now. They don't have a backup defensive midfielder. They have, but what they have is the manager who's a great manager who can come up with solutions. Just like they don't have a backup for Haaland, but they have solutions. You could play Foden there. You could play, so they can rest him. They can rest him.
They don't have... So what we've got is a like-for-like replacement What City have got is not a like-for-like
Doesn't have to be
replacement.
like for like.
No, it doesn't have to be. What they then have to do is change their system, whereas Arsenal don't necessarily have to change their system.
Don't really change their
By-
system.
By
They don't really change their
by playing
system.
Sterling instead of Saka, you can just slip one in and keep
No,
the same
Julian,
system.
you're wrong. They don't really change their system. They just have players who will come in instead in that system. They won't change. City don't change their system. The system's the same.
But you haven't got a like-for-like replacement of Haaland. There's
Yeah,
no other player
In
in
this
the
world.
City squad.
In the world,
Yeah,
Mark.
in the world, but in the City squad that can come in and replace Haaland and play in the same way, whereas Sterling can come in and play in the same way as Saka.
All right. What about Salah at Liverpool? Who's
Well,
he
we were
getting
talking
rid-
about Man City.
Well, I'm
Arsenal.
talking about Liverpool now, right?
he's changed
So we're
Changed it. He's lost that one, so he's changed
No, it's
it.
not lost. I'm trying to say to you that when you've got your
know.
best player plays. Liverpool's best player is Salah. He plays every game. Will he be replaced?
Yeah, but
they got a Champions
but
League game. Will they
but
play?
here's the difference. I mean,
are they going to start Chiesa?
I agree with
He's
you.
direct replacement.
In that position, the best player is Saka. However, it's not that much of a drop off, and it's a similar style player to be able to bring Sterling in.
So I'm saying at Liverpool.
So that's why I'm saying it's easier to rotate Saka than it is Haaland.
Okay, I'm giving you the now Liverpool, right? Because you're saying you're all right. You haven't got another Haaland at Liverpool. They could play Chiesa, who they bought in. It's Italian international. They could play him. They could even play. They could play Gakpo there.
Yep.
They can play Luis Diaz. They could move over to there. They can play Nunes there. They've got loads of options there.
Yep.
But Salah will start because he's their best player.
And you're changing the discussion.
Not changing it.
to Liverpool. And what the question was, should Saka be rested? And I've given you the reasons why.
I'm not
Saka
changing
should be-
anything.
And I've said why Saka should be rested.
You're not answering my question.
I did answer it. I said
the
Saka
question
should be
is
rested.
what.
And gave you the reasons why.
Let me put it to you again.
on.
What I said right from the beginning. Your best player plays. Salah's their best player. He will play.
And in order for Saka to continue being the best player, you need a little bit of rotation to keep him at that
Now
level.
I'm saying that when you've got your best player, Cristiano Ronaldo plays, right? Mbappe plays, right? The best players play in every team. When you got your best player, you don't drop them players unless they're injured
It's not
or
drop,
unless
it's
they're
rotation.
if they're completely, they got, in the red zone or something. If not, they play. Those players as well would demand that I want to play.
They
I
will
don't wanna
always
rest.
play in the biggest games. What I'm saying is that Leicester at home on Saturday
It's a big game,
Is
as
a
Lee
big game,
said.
but it's not the biggest.
But it's still a big game.
And you
It's
can
still an
still
important
rotate
game.
it. It is
It's an
important.
important league
It's
game, as Lee-
important.
as Lee said.
And that's why you've got a player of Sterling's quality that can come in, fit in, and the levels that I've seen, it won't drop off significantly. And if it does, you can bring him off the bench. And a fit Saka off the bench against a tiring Leicester could be very effective.
But what if we start that game against Leicester and then we go a goal down or something like that?
Then that's another good reason to bring Saka on.
Well,
The
why
other
chase?
side of it is to play him and get 2 or 3 up and then take him.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But you still give him a rest,
you don't
but
want to bring
either way-
you don't want to bring on your best players to chase a game, right? So my argument is what I see.
I actually think you do.
Is what
if
I
you want
s-
to chase a game, you do bring on your best players.
What I see with all the big clubs, with all the big and best players, is they start. That's why I'm making that point. Salah starts. He will start. Ollie Watkins will start for Villa this week. It won't be John Duran, who's done well off the bench. It'd be Ollie Watkins, right? At Newcastle, unless he's injured, it will be what's his name?
Isaac.
He's start. They got other options. They can use other strikers. Isak starts. He's the best player, right? Haaland starts. All your best. What's you with this resting thing? Rest.
Rotate.
I
It's a
do
big
think
game.
think at some stage you have to rotate and rest.
Yeah,
players. I do.
And it's just
even if
it's just
it is
at what stage. And what I'm saying
yeah, exactly
is
that.
when we're playing Leicester at home and followed by PSG, it's a good option. I'm not saying we have to, but it's a good opportunity. Especially what Lee said, made a good point that England aren't going to rest him. England are just going to, if England can get away with it, they'll play him.
Got a spare room
2
at your
games.
house? Maybe you can come and rest there.
Yeah. It's good.
Well,
he's more than welcome.
Ideally,
as is any Arsenal player.
ideally, you'd like Saka and Rice to get rested for one game against England, but that ain't going to happen. and
They may do because one of those games, not both of them, isn't one a friendly and the other one's a Nations League.
I'm not sure.
Think.
But you have to say there was an opportunity to rest both Saka and Rice for the League Cup game in the week, and both started.
But I think that's because Saka. I was surprised that Saka started actually for that game. That is a game that you could definitely have rested him for. It's the League Cup, Carabao Cup, and we should have enough in that game. I think it could have been that Martinelli looked absolutely knackered in that game. And remember, in the game against City, and if you remember rightly, Saka only played a half. He came off here. He got sacrificed when we went down to... And that's another thing, City and all these Roy Keanes and all that. They forget that we sacrificed our best player, right? Because we're trying to now hold out and defend that lead. Now, a lot of people miss that point. Saka wasn't injured when he came off at half-time. He was sacrificed, right? So that just shows you how we had to change up how we played. And, it
also shows you that Mikel didn't think for that second half Saka was our best player because he took him off.
Well, that is a different type of game, though,
It is different.
It's a completely different type of game.
The other side of it is that he may well have started Saka on Wednesday because he's going to do exactly what I'm suggesting and give him a bit of a rest on Saturday.
By the way,
he did start the City game. He also started on Wednesday night, so he might have it in his mind that it is time. He's looked at the games. He rested a lot of players on Wednesday. He wanted to keep in some experience, so he may well be thinking that let's start Saka and then give him a rest.
I think he started because he only played a half. So, and he only really played just over a half in that game. So that's why I think he's starting.
It'd be interesting to see if he does rotate. Right. See what he does.
An hour and a quarter before the game on, we'll find out.
Unless he's injured, I don't think he will be starting that game. He's too important. He's our best player. He's too, he creates too much, right? So he's always needed in these games.
I agree with that. Every time you leave Saka out, it is a gamble because he is the one, even on Wednesday, he created a goal.
Yeah.
Even against Man City, I know it's at a corner, you've still got to put that corner in.
Corner's down to
but then Sterling had an assist and a goal.
Yeah. I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
What I'm saying is that
you said earlier, and in your interview, it's only Bolton.
Yeah, but then it was only Bolton for Saka. It was only Bolton for Sterling.
He did against Man City last weekend as well.
Sterling contributed by scoring a goal and putting in an assist. So I feel he's good enough to start against Leicester. But you can't have 12 players on the pitch. He's got to replace someone. All I'm saying is let him replace Saka for this particular game.
Okay, we'll see what the starting 11 is, and you'll be able to watch that on Saturday. We'll be all on that, so Julian will be sitting there hoping and praying.
I told you.
So he can be all smug and say he told you. So let's wait and see. But guys, just before we go, let's get your predictions for that game. I want your predictions for the two games coming up. Arsenal versus Leicester, Arsenal versus PSG. Julian.
3-0 against Leicester. I think we'll win 2-1 against PSG.
3-0 Leicester, 2-0 PSG.
I actually said 3-0 as well against Leicester. So I'm going 3-0 Leicester. I'm going to go 1-0 against PSG. 1-0. You'll be able to catch all those games here on AFTV. Of course, we will be speaking to the fans before and after the game. We'll be speaking to you guys online as well. Starting 11 shows, watch-alongs. We got the lot here, so make sure you check it out. Also, don't forget to check out all of our content here on AFTV. There's the brilliant Invincible podcast, of course. The A-List, which is our podcast where we speak to celebrities around football. We were up on some big billboards from Spotify in Leicester Square and Westfield all that last week. So that was absolutely brilliant to see us up there in the front.
And the shop was away, I hear that.
Yeah, they shut the shops down after that, right? But listen, well done to Cecil and the guys. They've been doing a great job on that. So the A-List, make sure you check that out. We've got some great interviews that we've done on there. The David Seaman one was brilliant. The Keir Starmer one. There's some big interviews there, so make sure you check that out. So listen, thanks for watching. Don't forget, we'll be back next week with another Invincible podcast, and subscribe here to AFTV. The Invincible podcast. Myself, Robbie, and Lee Judges come together once a week to discuss all things Arsenal. Straight talking, considered discussion, brought to you by the fans of the only club in Football League history to go invincible.